There is a place, there is a moment, there is a feeling and escape from your ordinary way. There is a place, there is a time, there is a reason to make today an extraordinary day. Look what you're missing, look what you're missing. There's a world for you to see, paradise to set you free. Look what you're missing, look what you're missing. Come along, I'll take you there, an adventure we can share. There is a place.
So last time on Look What You're Missing, we were exploring the Pakhuis area and parts of the Bido Valley. This time we're in for a real treat. We get to ride up the Kruiberg Pass and we get to go and explore the old post route. And later on, we're going to ride slap bang through the middle of the Cederberg mountain range.
And we get to meet one Albie Bakker, who's kindly offered to show us some of the amazing natural phenomena on his farm, Agterfontein. But before we get there, come on Warren, put the rest of your ad kit on.
You know, Henk, I don't think there's too many people watching this that aren't motorcyclists that'll know what ATGAT is. So let's cut to a series of scenes that we filmed, one of which covers what ATGAT is and what it means to us motorcyclists.
Motorcyclists have their own secret word, ATGAT. It sounds like a code and it is. It stands for all the gear, all the time. And this is something we swear by.
In South Africa, it is possible to experience many different weather extremes in one day. You may set off from home in 0-degree icy cold weather, and by 1 o'clock you're out in the Karoo, riding around in 30-degree heat. This all makes buying protective gear a little trickier than it seems, because there are just so many options available.
And with so many options available, we are going to take you through some of the basics we believe an adventure rider should be looking for in kit.
We'll start with boots, and I suppose the first thing we should mention is that those extra strong hiking boots or work boots or whatever won't cut it out there. In fact, there are only two types of motorcycle boot that are suitable for riding off the tar. Not even touring boots are actually good enough for the rigours of adventure riding. The main thing that makes a motorcycle boot different from any other kind of boot is that it is designed to stay on your foot in the case of an accident, and you really do need to be wearing either full motocross boots or a good pair of adventure riding boots. Now, motocross boots offer the maximum protection possible in a motorcycle boot, no argument there. However, the jury is always going to be out on whether they are comfortable enough for long and in fact multiple days riding and walking. Also, they are generally not waterproof, so that's another compromise to think of.
Now what primarily makes motorcycle adventure suits different from normal clothes is the protection they give you from the risks of riding motorcycle. And your favorite pair of blue jeans has no place in this world.
A good adventure suit is designed to protect you as much from different weather conditions as from a crash. They'll be made from tough materials like Cordura. They'll have extensive venting for airflow, removable liners for warmth and moisture protection, lots of pockets for cargo, and CE approved integrated armor inserts. Because they have such a big job to do and incorporate so many different materials and technologies, a good adventure suit is generally on the more expensive side of the spectrum.
The value of motorcycle gloves and the neck brace are often overlooked. Your hands and fingers are vulnerable and are often the first body parts to contact the ground in an accident.
The most important things to consider when choosing a glove are the fit and the ability to operate the controls easily. Gloves need to keep the hands warm and dry when necessary, aid with grip and prevent blisters and calluses. The palm, knuckle and finger protection must be able to provide abrasive resistance and some impact cushioning. Most riders will in fact have multiple pairs of gloves for different weather and riding conditions.
The neck brace is the helmet for the neck. Here too, there are a few different options available. Despite all the arguments for and against this piece of kit, if you're serious about your safety, get a neck brace.
The saying you get what you pay for is probably most true when it comes to helmets. A helmet is not only there to protect you in the event of a crash, it's also there to enhance your enjoyment of riding your motorcycle. It does this by shielding your face against the wind and the rain. It keeps things like bugs, sand, dust and dirt out. It lowers noise levels and protects your eyes from the glare of the sun. It provides comfort and helps to alleviate fatigue.
A few things to look for when deciding on a helmet are things like venting, removable ears for washing, an anti-fog visor, and a cushioned chin strap and neck roll. Unfortunately, a helmet is something you cannot really test before you buy it. So do some homework before you hand over your money, because there's many options and styles, and each has its pros and cons.
There are also various testing certifications that helmets need to have depending on where you are in the world. So go check them out to make sure that your intended helmet has a safety certification like DOT, SNELL or something similar.
Remember, the fit is also very important. A good fitting helmet should be on the snug side. And keep in mind, the fit will become looser as the padding breaks in.
And now that you have all the info, make sure you get the best protection that you can afford. I know $8 might seem like a lot for a good top-of-the-range pair of boots, but the fact is a good top-of-the-range ankle operation is going to cost you 10 times that. Seems like a simple choice to me. And now, let's get back to the adventure.
Albie Bakker is probably one of the most interesting people you will ever have the pleasure of meeting. His in-depth knowledge of all things fauna and flora, not to mention the geology of the area, is second to none. And he conveys this information to you along with many stories in a manner that leaves you hungry for more.
Ek is al 30 jaar hier wat ek die grond in my besit het, maar die eerste klompie jare het ek by die Rooibos Tee Koöperasie gewerk en toe het ek maar die plaas van 'n afstand af bedryf en toe het ons nou droogblomme gemaak en gestye. Die plaas is so 4500 hektar. Dit is 'n moeilike plaas om Rooibos Tee op te boer want daar's baie klip, ons is bo op 'n berg, maar die kwaliteit tee wat ons maak is van die beste.
During a very privileged day spent with Albie, we were shown some rock formations that were sculptured by the wind and water over millions of years. And you didn't have to be a geologist to appreciate how spectacular they were. Just when we thought it couldn't get better, there were very rare Bushman paintings and two incredible waterfalls carved out of the bedrock by Mother Nature, one of which falls nearly 140 meters, and some vistas you only usually dream of. Albie also lives on what is known in some circles as the Old Post Route. Legend has it that this trail follows the original footpath of a young postal worker who once walked between Wupperthal and Elandsvlei. Come rain or shine, she walked for 2 days to deliver the mail to the isolated mission station before walking all the way back. Whether that is true or not is uncertain, but one thing is for sure, it definitely crosses privately owned land. So if you're planning to go exploring here, be sure to stop and pay your respects. This dramatic landscape makes it easy to get lost here, and even easier to want to get lost. But be warned, don't go exploring around here alone.
We will keep saying throughout the series, get to know the locals. They will only enhance your journey. A lot of the places we've been to are not open to the general public, and unfortunately you cannot just go there. But if you get to know the locals, you may find yourself fortunate enough to be on a personal tour of the area. Where we were today was stark, beautiful, remote. Hell man, if I didn't know better, I think we were on a different planet altogether.
You're quite right, Henk. In fact, those were probably two of the best days I've ever spent exploring South Africa on a motorcycle. And I feel fairly humbled. I feel humbled because those two farmers took time out of their busy lives to show us their backyards, and what incredible backyards they have. And when, as you say, everything we saw in the last 2 days, is a lot of it is on private property, and yet they're so willing to share and show, and more importantly tell. I wish I'd had sound and camera hooked up in their Land Rover all day, because what I learned today about rooibos farming and sheep farming, and how something as simple as us leaving a gate open can affect them, that's all just absolutely incredible. And now I'm looking forward to a hot shower, a big fire, some homegrown lamb, a knatschi, maybe 3, and a good night's sleep, because tomorrow we hit the road through Wupperthal, right over Cederberg and all the way to the Cederberg Oasis. Every day out here is a new adventure, and every day out here there's something different to look forward to.
Wupperthal was founded in 1830 by 2 German missionaries of the Rhenish Missionary Society. And in fact, the name was derived from the Wupper River in Germany. Today, even though modernization has arrived in various forms, you still get the feeling that this little village has been lost in time. And it doesn't take much imagination to take you back to the 1800s as you wander around.
I suppose Wupperthal would be most famous for its Veldschoenfabrik, handmade shoes. Unfortunately though, there doesn't seem to be a next generation learning from this generation. So who knows if it will even still be here in a couple of decades' time.
Now, most families in this community are dependent on small-scale agricultural or livestock farming for their livelihoods, with rooibos tea being the most important crop. Other than that, there is a general trading store, a small tea room, a school with 2 hostels, and of course the Moravian church still stands eloquently in the center of town.
Now we're on our way to the Cederberg Oasis for probably the best burger in the land. And this next 34 kilometers of mountain track is for me, motorcycle-wise, the highlight of this entire journey. I've been looking forward to this for all 3 days because out here on an adventure bike, it really doesn't get much better than this. Now Henk, the challenges along this next stretch used to be this climb up the Wupperthal Pass, and then we could throw some sand and some pebbles into the mix. But it looks like they've concreted the whole pass now, so we're left with the sand and the pebbles. And seeing that there isn't that much sand, let's concentrate on the pebbles for today.
Some call this the Wupperthal Pass and others call this the Cederberg Pass. And you still need to be very careful because the views around here will invite you to tear your eyes away from the road. And at times, you're riding next to a sheer drop. Now, riding pebbles actually has a lot in common with riding sand. So what you need to do is stand up and look ahead. Because you've got less traction and need to plan even further ahead for change of direction and speed.
You also need to keep the throttle open and use your foot pegs and body weight input for turning the bike as opposed to aggressive moves on the handlebars. Because you've got less traction, you also need to look for open flowing lines on the road and also look out for patches of the road where it offers a better surface and therefore better traction. This will give you a slight chance to recover yourself so that you can keep your momentum and speed up.
Ride easy, loose and neutral on the bike. Allow the bike to move around a little bit because it's going to move around anyway. But if you're able to keep your momentum, the going will be easier.
Right, you ready?
Hell yes, let's go and have some fun.
The 34 kilometers of what would definitely be classified as Oorgeer Pad between Wupperthal and Maatjiesrivier should not really be attempted in your little family saloon. Steep gradients, sand, some pretty rough terrain depending on the time of year, and loads of clippies need to be traversed. But don't let this deter you, because you will ride through some of the most amazing scenery around. And for the most part, be able to see clear across the Moordenaarschat, a fantastic gorge that runs for almost the whole 34 kilometers. You will pass yet another fantastic waterfall, the little outlying settlement of Wupperthal, that is Cederberg. And if you take your time, this 3-hour journey should be the highlight of the whole trip as far as riding is concerned.
So this place doesn't really have a special name or any historical significance, but as with all the other simplistic things out here, we've just called it the naming ground. And it intrigues me why so many people have come here and stopped and made their name in the rock. I wonder who started it, you wonder who stops here. Some of the guys have made new names out of the old names, they're lazy travelers. Luckily for me, some energetic guy came along here one day and made my name higher up there on the mountain in fairly big rocks, so that's here to stay, I assume. And also from here you get a brilliant view of the Moordenaarschat behind me, and to the front, the valley in which the oasis is located. It's simply breathtaking, as is everything else out here. So, whatever this place is, and whoever started it, it's got a really special feel about it. And I always try and stop here when I come past because it's a really nice place to be.
The Cederberg Oasis is the home of Gerrit and Chantal Carstens and is really and truly an oasis for motorcycle riders, or in fact anyone exploring this area. Stunning campsites, rooms for hire, restaurant, pool, bar. It's all here and nothing is too much of an effort for these two amazing people.
The location of the oasis makes it the perfect place to include in any part of your journey. You can come make it the first night out of Cape Town, come and spend a few days here, There's really a lot to do and see in this area. Sadly, it's also an awesome place to end an adventure, and that's the case for us. Tomorrow morning we pack up camp and head back to Cape Town. But we've still got some time here this afternoon, so when we're done here setting up camp, we're going to go and speak to Gerrit Karsten. He's the owner and the manager of the Cederberg Oasis. And then we're going to get our biker friends together to see if we can find out from them why they enjoy riding their motorcycles out here so much, with their world literally crammed into a haversack.
Before we get there, seems like you were a little bit heavy on the water today.
Well, that's the one thing you really want to avoid out here, is dehydration. Now, dehydration occurs when water loss exceeds water intake. To show you a simple scale of things in percentages, a normal human being won't be bothered by a 2 to 4% water loss percentage. 5 to 8% and you'll start to experience fatigue. Around 10% you'll experience dizziness, perhaps even disorientation. The top of the scale is only 25%, and that can often be fatal. So even if it's the middle of winter, even if you think you're not thirsty, sip your water the whole day. Make sure you have enough water with you, and in fact, if you're planning a longer journey, make sure you take emergency water with you. It's another way to stay safe out here while riding your motorcycle. So drink your water. So I'm sitting here with Gerrit Karsten. He's the owner and manager of the Cederberg Oasis. Gerrit, sê vir my, so mooi stukkie van die wêreld. Sê vir ons bietjie, waarvan af kom jy en hoe het jy hier beland?
As klein kind baie hier gekom, skoolvakansies, my ma se ouers het hier gebly. My oor 'n paar die grond gekoop toe ek so 12 jaar oud was. En toe sou besluit ek gaan plaas toe kom. Ek het na my diensplig plaas toe gekom, wanneer was dit 1981. So, sedert 1981 is ek hierso.
Hoe het die Oasis begin? Waar het die idee vandaan gekom? Jy weet, wanneer het jy besluit om die toerisme ding te betrek in plek van boer?
As 'n mens natuurlik nou in so 'n gebied bly, jy raak later lief vir die gebied, nou wil jy ook nie weer terug stad toe nie. Ek meen ek is in die stad gebore en groot geword. En die toerismebedryf het daai tyd begin 'n kop uitsteek. Daar was definitief 'n behoefte vir die motorfietsryers en die bergklimmers en die trapfietsryers en die hardlopers. En dit was 'n baie logiese stap vorentoe om die oase te bou.
Vir die mense wat wel oorslaap hier by jou, ek bedoel, wat kan jy ons hier in die area doen? Ek verstaan daar's lekker staproetes, daar's miskien grotte waar 'n ou kan bly, daar's boesmantekeninge hier.
In die Cederberg bewaringsgebied is meer boesmantekeninge per vierkante kilometer as enige ander plek in die Wes-Kaap. Met ander woorde, baie mense kom om die rotskuns te sien. Baie van die staproetes is dan ook sodat 'n mens die rotskuns kan sien terwyl jy die staproetes doen. Ander groot stappe wat daar is die Wolfbergskere en die Wolfbergboog. Goed wat al wêreldbekend is.
Wel, ek wil net sê baie dankie aan Gerrit vir sy tyd en om 'n paar vrae te vra oor die Oasis. And folks, this is an extremely exceptional place. You really need to get out here to come see it. It's the only way you're going to see what you're missing.
You get to go places that no other vehicle can go. So I think the bike is the most suitable vehicle I would use to experience new places.
Well, we try and get away at least once a month, but probably more than that. Sometimes twice a month. We try and spend as much time as we can on the bike, seeing as much as we can. It's a great way of just getting out of the house and being together.
I actually bought the bike as a commuter, and then a mate of mine took me out on 1 or 2 day rides, and it just got hooked.
The idea was Friday's a dress down day, and wouldn't it be nice to have a bike? And it's developed from riding on tar once a week, and to the coffee shop once a month, to I now commute every day, seeing parts of the country I've never seen before, the Transkei, the Wild Coast, Lesotho.
So I was taken to a BMW showroom, and I fell in love with my bike. And again, initially it was just going to be commuting and road driving, and then I decided one day to just take a chance and go off-road, and I haven't looked back since.
And then my wife decided she wanted to ride, and she bought an adventure bike before I did. So I bought an adventure bike because my wife did. We've gone on trips and tours where we've actually seen things that we wouldn't have done on our own, but because we've seen the bike in front of us do it, it's obviously doable. So it's really broadened our horizons, and we've been to places in this country that without a motorbike I would never have seen. And we've met people that without a motorbike I would never have met.
You get a sense of belonging in that environment when you're on these adventure bikes.
Bido Valley, those flowers, there's nothing that I've seen anywhere that comes close to the flowers that we saw there. To come down into that valley and just to see flowers and flowers and flowers wherever you look. It's really beautiful.
Wel my gunsteling plek eintlik is die Cederberge. Ek is so half, jy weet daai verliefde gevoel wat jy kry met butterflies. Elke keer as ek by die Cederberge inry, dan kry ek daai gevoel nog steeds tot vandag toe. En want jy is net heeltyd omring met berge waar jy kyk. Baie vrouens word geïntimideer om dit te begin doen, maar ek meen om net soos te begin soos ek, of weet op 'n kleiner fiets as jy dan nog geïntimideer word deur 'n groot fiets, maar ek meen ja, meer vrouens is beter. Dit is lekker om elke keer nuwe gesigte te sien en nuwe vrouens te ontmoet wat dit doen.
You're not just getting on the bike, you're not just riding from point A to point B. You're experiencing the ride from point A to point B, and it can be getting off, learning about the place that you're driving through, because that for me, you get a respect for the place, and the vistas and just nature is just mind-blowing. I just wish that everybody could experience it.
Now this is the part I really don't enjoy. We're all packed up and on our way home.
Well, they say all good things come to an end, Henk. But we hope that you've enjoyed this journey with us. And just remember, we've barely scratched the surface of what there is to do and see out here. There really is so much more. And obviously the best way for you to experience it is to come out here and see it for yourself.
That's the only way you'll be able to say to your friends, look what you're missing. If you want some more information about this and some other journeys we'll be doing over the next couple of weeks, please go to our website, www.lookwhatyourmissing.co.za, one word. There's loads more information there.
Next time out, we're going to literally take you back to the 19th century. And that's just for starters. The next 2 episodes will feature battlegrounds, more beautiful parts of South Africa, and one of the best kept secrets in the Cape.
So that's it. Until next time, please ride safe.
And while you're out here, look after yourselves.
Look what you're missing. Look what you're missing. There's a world for you to see. Paradise to set you free. Look what you're missing. Look what you're missing. Come along, I'll take you there. An adventure we can share. There is a place, there is a moment, there is a feeling and escape from